My name is Becky Thatcher, and welcome to today's Daily Dose of Hope. Now, as we start off today, I just have to start with a confession. That's good for a church-related video, right? I love school. I love everything about going to school, going back to school. When I was a child, I loved the whole drama of going to get my school supplies, the new shoes, the new clothes that I was blessed to have, and starting on that first day and going back. I loved the learning. I never liked recess, but I even liked the spinach in the school cafeteria. I loved school, all of my middle school, high school, elementary years, and I loved it so much that I chose to become an elementary school teacher. I taught second grade for 7 years and then took a break to raise my family, and now I'm back as an instructional assistant in the same school where I taught. And I still love school. And then came the part where I became a parent, and I got to help my children try to love school. The day we would go back for back to school supplies was almost like a national holiday. I would take them to lunch. We would get the lists out ceremoniously. We would go up and down the aisles at Walmart and get all those supplies because I wanted them to feel as confident and as relaxed as possible to start back to school. Because after all, back to school always has some butterflies. You're worried about who your teacher's going to be. You're not sure if you'll make friends or not. Parents are worried about who your teacher's going to be and whether that'll be a good match for you. And teachers are worried about who their students are going to be and if they'll do the best they can to help those students come from point A to point B by the beginning to the end of the year. It's a time of great excitement and energy, but it can also be a time of butterflies. Well, I would have to say, in all my years of loving school, as a student, as a parent, or as a teacher, this year has had way more butterflies than any ever before it. And that is mainly because we are in the middle of a pandemic. And it has not only changed a lot about the world we live in, but it has changed going back to school. Parents, teachers, administrators, and even students are having to think about things that they have never had to think about before. Things that cause anxiety, things that cause worry. We have worries about our mental health and our physical health, returning to the classroom or not returning to the classroom, participating or not participating, how to teach remotely or how to teach safely in person, whether you're a student or a parent or a teacher. It is a time of great anxiety, and I would say probably a bit less hope than it has been in those glorious years past where all we worried about were if we got the right tennis shoes or if we got the right color notebooks. As I've reflected on this, there have been several things that God has brought to my mind that have reminded me that even in this difficult season, we can have a very hopeful back to school return. All of us that are parents, all of us that are students, and yes, even all of us that are teachers and school administrators. How can we have hope in this time of back to school pandemic? Well, I think the first thing that we need to remember is that this is indeed just a season. COVID had a beginning. COVID will have an end. Everything in the created order right now in this realm has a beginning and an end. And this is not going to last forever. Teachers, you will not always have to teach with face shields. Kids, you're not always going to have to socially distance. Parents, you're not always going to have to find childcare to do half blended learning, half at home and half in school. This season will pass. Remain hopeful that it is a temporary time and not something that is going to last forever. Another thing I think we need to remember that will keep us hopeful in this back to school is that while the pandemic was a surprise to us, it was certainly no surprise to our God. And He is completely and thoroughly in control of this time period in our world and especially of this school year. Teachers, he knew you were going to have to learn new techniques to help your kids learn just as well as ever. Parents, he knows that you are going through some very difficult decisions and you want the best for your child and you're not sure what to decide. There might be economic challenges. It might be the first year you've ever had trouble buying school supplies. But you know what? God knows these things. And what's even more than that is he has the wisdom to help you navigate them. In James chapter 1, verse 5, he says, if anyone lacks wisdom, that he should ask God, who gives generously and does not find fault. He will bestow on you whatever wisdom you need to make sure you can navigate this successfully, help your children navigate it, and teachers that you can navigate this very unusual classroom time. But in light of the fact that this is a season and that God is in control, it has an end. That means we have a charge. And that charge is we need to learn all that we can from this very unusual season. Teachers, there are lessons we'll learn about how to teach kids from this time of pandemic that we would have never learned if it hadn't been here. Parents, there are things you're going to learn about how to better parent your children. Kids, you're going to even learn how to be better students if you will simply allow this time not to overwhelm you, but to teach you. It's not going to be here forever, so take advantage and learn the lessons. Our God is an ace at taking ashes and turning them into beauty. Let him teach you good lessons that you can carry with you throughout this time and the future. And last of all, Christ followers, this is an incredible time for us to shine God's light and dispense his grace and love in unlimited measures, just as he has dispensed it to us. Let's talk a little bit about that grace question. Right now, teachers are going to try things that are probably going to fail. Many will do well, but some of their new techniques are going to fail. Parents, you're going to make the best decision you can for your kid, but somebody across the street's not going to agree with that decision. And kids, you have to decide how you're going to navigate all this and if you're going to play a certain sport or not, considering your own health care and options. And there are people that are going to disagree with your opinions. My friends, when it comes to these choices, our first step cannot be to judge. As James also says, we need to be quick to listen, but slow to speak and slow to anger, because human anger does not produce the righteousness of God. We have got to be gracious as we're navigating this time and be open to others' decisions, reminding that their value is not in the decision that they make, but in the fact that they are a child of God and doing the best they can. So let's go out there. Let's put on those masks. Let's love. Let's keep our distance. Let's be the one in the parking lot parent that is praising our student for trying these new things, and for to praise our teachers for trying these new things and not putting them down. Let's not be the ranters or the judges on social media. Let's extend Christ's grace and, by the other hand, his love at the same time, encouraging those who are sick, encouraging those who are afraid, embracing those who need help, and just shining that love so others will truly know, as Jesus said in John, that is the hallmark of his disciples. So now we have the one who can do immeasurably more than we ask or imagine on our side. How can we not have a hopeful school year? Is it going to be weird? Yes. Is it going to be scary sometimes? Could be. But it's in his control. It is a season. It is a time to show unprecedented grace and love, and it will be a time of great lessons. Let's use those to further his kingdom. Have a great day.